welcome. What is the first start in your mind all about, and how much are you looking forward to that chance?
I mean, there's obviously a flood of emotions. You know, I'm really excited to get out there, put the pinstripes on in Yankee Stadium for the first time, but also trying to ground myself enough to know that it's just, you know, one of 33 starts, and the first one isn't any more significance than any other one.
Who else? Peter, to the left.
Hi, Max. Just what are you kind of expecting today whenever you're on the line and hearing your name announced for the first time at Yankee Stadium?
I have no idea what to expect. I'm just going to kind of take it all in and, you know, really just soak up the experience. You know, first opening day at Yankee Stadium, and, you know, I'm excited to be a fan today of just being able to watch a really good baseball game.
Gary.
Hey, Max, are you going to have any friends, family attending on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm narrowing down the list right now, but it's probably in the 15 to 20 range.
Gotcha. Anybody stand out?
You know, family, friends. Yeah.
Laura, staying on the left.
What are your recollections of your first major league start? And do you think coming into a new environment you might feel any of those same things in a couple days?
My first major league start was in September of 2017 at Wrigley Field. So it was, you know, I was extremely nervous. I had a lot of adrenaline, and you know, had some starts that feel similar to that since then. So I would hope that it's similar to that. Just, you know, being excited and you know, been looking forward to it. But I don't know if I'll be at that same level, just not knowing what to expect.
Over to the right, Jack.
Max, you and Carlos are different pitchers with different arsenals, but you are both left-handed.
Mm-hmm.
What will you be doing today in terms of watching the Brewers, because you're likely to be facing the same lineup on Saturday?
Yeah, just being able to. I feel like everyone comes into a new season, you know, having worked on something in the off season, so just being able to, you know, see if anyone's made any big adjustments, honestly.
John, right.
Obviously, almost your entire professional career had been with one team to this point. Having gone through now 6 weeks through spring training, what stood out to you over the course of spring training about the behind-the-scenes stuff, the coaching, everything like that, that you have now gotten used to?
You know, I would say just everyone's very diligent. Everyone's very thorough with kind of every aspect to this organization, and on top of that, everyone's been really welcoming. So I've felt really comfortable up to this point, and coming here, you know, it's a little different than down in Tampa, but it's also, you can feel the energy and kind of that buzz and excitement.
Staying right there, Disha on the right.
Hey, Max, knowing that there's a lot of noise about Cole missing the season, just how do you personally deal with that pressure? Does it give you maybe extra motivation?
You know, obviously we're going to miss Garrett, but at the same time, whether he was pitching in the rotation or, you know, whether he's not, it doesn't really change what I have to do. At the end of the day, like, when it's my time to take the ball, I have to be myself and go out there and win that ball game that day. So, you know, obviously a pitcher that, you know, of the caliber of Garrett, you would want to be able to take the ball every fifth day. But we have a lot of really talented guys in this clubhouse that are really excited about taking on the opportunity, and, you know, we're excited.
Take a few more. Joe, to the left.
Max, this time of year, everybody's excited and hopeful about the potential for their team. You're a World Series champ. What do you look at this team that gets you excited and gives you confidence that you can get it done?
You have a lot of really high caliber players that are motivated to do one thing, and that's win as a group. You know, we have, you know, yeah, you've got talent up and down the roster, and really highly competitive guys. And you know that every single time that you step between the white lines, that it's us versus you, and, you know, we want to come out on top that day.
Tyler, over to the right in the
Max,
back.
in that World Series run that you had with Atlanta, I mean, you guys had lost some big names along the way,
Mm-hmm.
even during the series, and you prevailed. What did that teach you kind of about, like, I guess, hey, when you lose big guys like Garrett or whoever, like, season's not over, right?
Yeah, I mean, baseball is the ultimate team game, and anyone can win on any given day. It's about, a lot of different things where making the right plays, having the ball bounce the right way, and just not kind of giving up until the end. It's baseball is beautiful in that way, and kind of like I said before, it's about what happens when you step between those white lines and competing in that way. So, there's a lot of teams on paper that should win a certain game, but it just doesn't happen. And knowing that we're going to go out there and give it our all, every time that we get the opportunity, I think that's the main thing.
Back left.
I think one of the big scenery changes going from Atlanta to New York might be the weather, and then coming from Florida down here, March in the Northeast, a little cold. What can you do to prepare for the difference in weather?
Just understand that, for the most part, it's just being on the attack. Cold weather, you can be able to kind of hopefully get in on some hands, and it's cold. It's cold for the hitter too. So it's just being aggressive in the zone, and just kind of trying to get the defense in the dugout as quick as possible.
Take one or two more, Laura.
From the outside looking in, a lot of people are looking to you to anchor this rotation. Do you view yourself as a leader in that room, and if so, what is your leadership style?
For me, it's just about making sure that I handle my business on a day-in, day-out basis. Being able to go out there, be as prepared as I possibly can, and being able to win every time I take the ball. It's, for me, I have a job to get ready for my start every 5 days, and to being able to make sure that I'm as ready as I possibly can be when it's my time to take the ball.
Happy day. Opening day.
Morning, everybody. Meredith?
Aaron, players often talk about the butterflies they get before opening day. How would you describe opening day for you, knowing you're about to embark on another season?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely part of it. The night before, the eve of, just all that's gone into this, all winter, all spring, getting guys ready to go, and today's the start of that. So there's excitement, there's, some anxiety that comes with that, but we're ready to roll, and we get to start finding out how good we are.
What's your message to your team before they take the field this afternoon?
Yeah, one of them is, as someone who grew up in this game, we took a couple minutes yesterday to pause and be grateful for getting to do this, and having guys reach out to people that have been a part of their major league journey, a part of them being here. There's very few people that have ever walked the earth that get to put on a major league uniform and then get to do it on an opening day, and what that means, I think, and added to where put on the pinstripes and do that at Yankee Stadium, it's a big deal. Whether you've done this over 10 times now and you're a salty veteran, or it's your first one, it's a big deal, and I want our guys to appreciate that and appreciate all that this day signifies. For us that live it, it's the start of the grind. It's the start of what we do, our livelihood. For those of us, and I include myself now, that live in the Northeast, it's the start of hope springs eternal, summer's on the way. So it's an important day, and obviously we want to go out and try and win the game. But I think it's important to have an appreciation that what opening day in Major League Baseball is.
Rodon getting the ball, tasked with setting the tone for you guys. What do you look for from him early, and how much has your confidence in him increased?
A lot. Obviously Carlos has been through a lot with us in his first couple of seasons, and just really proud of his perseverance and his ability, and what I think he's done is developed a great routine and work ethic behind it. and that's set him up for success. It set him up for success last year. I think going through the playoffs last year, learning how to navigate that, learning how to navigate your emotions through that, I think will serve him well in a game like today. But today is, a lot about controlling that adrenaline a little bit, controlling that emotions, and just going out there and focus on execution. And if he does that, he should be fine.
Tyler to the right.
Aaron, being a Northeast guy now, like you say, what does it feel? Does it mean something slightly different here because of the weather and all that than it did when you were growing up, the time you were growing up in Southern California, something like that?
I think so. Yeah, I think that's real. I know, just those before daylight savings that. Man, it gets dark awfully early. And I know I get to break for spring training, but I know calling home, and this was an especially colder winter, it seemed like man, there's, now with the baseball season here, like those summer months and those summer smells and barbecues and things are on the way. Like I think that's a real thing and I have an appreciation for that now being back here and kind of living that. And so I do think it matters a little more.
Justin and John on the right.
Aaron, despite the hits you guys took in the spring, what gives you comfort when you look at the makeup of your roster on paper?
Good players. Everyone's going to take hits. There's no question we have some key guys out. In Garrett's case, it's going to be all year. But we've also had a lot of good things happen in the spring, and largely our position player group has, played a lot together in spring training, logged a lot of at-bats. I'm really optimistic about that group. We're likely to get a few guys from a pitching standpoint back, in the next couple of weeks. With Clark getting back into the rotation in the middle of the month, and Ian Hamilton will be back early in April, and we feel like Tyler Matzick's not far behind, and then you got Lowe and May. So there's hopefully a lot of good additions that kind of get sprinkled in as we go. But there's no reason to think that we can't go play at a really high level with everyone we have healthy right now. And I'm excited, especially for some of our quote-unquote unknowns, like younger players that I feel like are ready to step up and establish themselves as key parts of this club. So, or some of our young veterans that, we expect to take another step in their career trajectory. So, I'm excited. We have questions, but we think we have answers too.
John.
Obviously, over the last few years, you've been able to kind of use Garrett on the 4 days he doesn't pitch as kind of a pitching coach, essentially. How do you plan on getting the most out of him this year when he's more available in that?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, we'll see as it unfolds. He's a couple weeks into surgery, so you're dealing with the brace and the splint and all that, the early days of having a major surgery. So we'll see as the summer unfolds. Always look forward to what he brings to the table because he is so invested on the days he doesn't pitch. So hopefully that remains the same.
Joe to the left.
Aaron, just so much of this game is about routine and knowing what it's like in New York and not New York. For all the new guys who come over, whether it's the commute to the ballpark, finding a place to live, your normal place to eat, how long does it take for those new guys to get in that routine here so that they feel comfortable coming to work every day?
Yeah, it's the one thing that I want guys to get into that routine. We're 162 games, play every day. You want to get those things out of the way, so it becomes real normal as soon as possible. So a lot of that has to do, getting that first hit out of the way, making a play, whatever it may be. But developing that routine that can be challenging, not just all the stuff that happens at the ballpark, like you say. It's why I'm, very sensitive or empathetic to when we make a trade for a guy at a deadline, because I've been in those shoes before, and the whirlwind that is, up and boom, you're with a new team the next day and new people and getting to know. So we do our best to try and help assimilate guys as best we can. Fortunate for a lot of these guys, they have the means to make things a little bit easier. That always helps. But hopefully we're in a good spot with guys getting settled here in what you're asking, their new home.
To the wall on the right, Brendan.
Early in spring, we asked you who your leadoff guy was and weren't sure.
Austin Wells.
So you say that now, but when you were first trying him out, what were you curious to see about him, and how did he gain your confidence?
I guess first how he would, react to the idea of it. Like, did it catch him off guard, or it's like, ooh, I don't know about that. Felt right away like he was gung ho. I think he homered his first plate appearance as the leadoff hitter. So that kind of helped, ease the transition a little bit, probably. Look, I think the world of Austin as a player. I think he's going to become one of the really good two-way catchers in the league, and I think he's ready to do that right now. So while I do feel like there are a number of guys in our lineup now, maybe some of them younger, that can fit that bill, I feel like he's ready to handle that. And, it doesn't mean you go out and have success or, it's a game of failure. So we'll make a lot of the results right away from it. But the reality is, I think he's going to be, over the long haul, a really good offensive player that gets on base, that hits for power, that I'm going to want to see coming up late in the game in a big spot. So I think, at least for right now, I like him there.
And you don't see a lot of catchers lead off for a lot of reasons, but in particular, taking off your stuff and then going straight to the on-deck circle.
Yeah.
How much of a challenge do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing on the road that we've, where you come right in, and that's the one time it's a little bit of a challenge. But, he's led off innings before, and they have to take their gear off the same way. So, really, it's not really a factor on home games. You come in, you're going to catch, and now you just take your gear off as if you're leading off the third. So I don't think that's as big a deal as we'll make it out to be.
Bruce in the front.
Anything concern you, Aaron, going into the season? Anything keep you up at night? Anything that bothers you about this roster as it's put together?
All of it. You kidding me? Yeah, I mean, we have had some attrition, so we are relying on some unknowns just from guys, from an establishment standpoint. So I think all those guys that we're counting on and relying on are real and have a real chance to be really good players. But to some degree, they're still an unknown. So the biggest thing is I want us to get settled into the season, right, as much as we can, because I was talking to Susan, this is overreaction week. All the excitement that goes into opening day, now it's the week of overreaction, where we get off to a really good start and we're going to win the World Series. We get off to a tough start this week and it's, so, and that, you want to get rid of that noise. So I want guys to go out and get their first hit out of the way, get their first outing under their belt where they've had some success, because it's a 162 game season, but you want to get into that routine and that normalcy as quickly as possible. And, sometimes when all we have to go on is those first few games, that can get between the ears a little bit.
To the front left, Max.
Aaron, you have Reyes and Peraza both on your bench. Do you have a plan as to who would start against a left-hander at third?
Yeah. I mean, it could be either, but we'll see.
How would you evaluate that process? Because going into camp, that was obviously a question mark of who would be playing third this
Yeah,
year.
well, I mean, look, I think Pablo has really had to play his way onto the team, and he's had a great spring. I've been really impressed with what I've seen from Pablo, just the defensive versatility he gave us, but really the way he swung the bat. There's life in his bat. Oswald, we know. Oswald, is such a good defender over there. Has struggled a little bit the last couple weeks swinging the bat at the back end of spring training. So it could be a combination of the both of them. I'll kind of let that situation play itself out.
Chris.
A couple years ago, Garrett said that it wasn't until year 3 where he felt like truly comfortable here. With Carlos, he's going into year 3. Have you noticed any differences with how he's fitting in?
Yeah. I mean, he is more entrenched in our culture and who we are, and I think that's a credit to. I think as adverse as the first year was, and as rough as the first year was, that could have derailed a lot of people. But he really leaned into that. He owned it, and he made it a point to really connect with the people he needed to connect with, from a strength and conditioning, training, pitching department. I've talked about developing a rock solid routine backed by work ethic. Like, that's really served him well. And but I think there's no question when you're in a place for a while, just the amount of people then you're familiar with and know who to ask for something is big. I mean, so I think Carlos probably, I'm sure, like pretty much anyone, falls into that.
Over to the right, Eric.
Nestor became a established starter in the big leagues under your watch as manager. What's it going to be like facing him on Saturday?
Yeah. I mean, I love Nestor Cortez. I still keep in contact with him. He still texts me. He wanted to know if Escar was making the team, those kind of things. So it'll be different. It'll be odd. Really proud of who Nestor became with us, really establishing himself in this league, making an all-star team, which I predicted for him. But it'll be good to see him. Hopefully we can get to him a little bit and beat him up a little bit, and then he goes on and has a great year. But it'll be good. I have not seen him yet, but it'll be good to see him. He's someone that I love getting to manage, and love just his competitiveness.
Over to the left, Joe. Or Mark, sorry.
Hey, Aaron. What do you expect from Jazz this year, coming off the experience from a year ago, position he's a lot more comfortable with at second base as compared to third, and his overall impact now having him being here for a full season?
I mean, the sky is the limit with Jazz. I mean, you can ask him, He set a pretty high bar for himself, like some of the things he's told me he's going to do this year. So if he comes close to any of that, we're in a good spot. Look, he's so gifted. And I think another guy that's come over here and fit in so incredibly well. Like, he likes to play the game. He likes the bright lights. He likes the stage. He's been a lot of fun to manage just in the few months that I've gotten to be around him and develop a relationship with him. But he can do anything on a baseball field that all the other great players can do. Like, he can really run. He's got real power. Like, his power for not being a big guy is remarkable, how well he hits the ball to all fields. So I'm hoping that, at, what is he, 26, 27 years old, that this is the year that, he's had good years. He's been an all-star. He's done some really good things in this game, but hopefully this is the year that, he takes even another step, because he's certainly capable of that.
I will take Gary. We'll have J.C. Escar at 1:15, and for planning purposes, we'll have Aaron Judge here post-game.
There was a report this morning that Giancarlo responded well to the PRP injections. Is that so? And if so, what's the next steps for him?
Yeah, he's doing pretty well. I think we've all been encouraged by the last couple of weeks. Still no timetable on anything, but he's been able to swing the bat and feel like there's been some steady improvement day after day. So encouraged about at least the last couple of weeks, but we still got a ways to go.
We'll take Jack, last one.
Aaron, you've mentioned a few times how today is a day of joy and excitement, but the Yankees also announced that they would have a moment of silence for Miller Gardner. How would you describe the thoughts and the feelings that you have had for the Gardner family?
It's been devastating. I mean, as much as the excitement of today, like, there's no question we'll be playing with heavy hearts today and throughout the year, and playing with Miller in mind. Especially with us coming back home to New York. Getting to see Bella, who had a relationship with their boys, to see how it impacts your kids, and I think we can all imagine how difficult that is right now for the Gardner family. And so it'll be with heavy hearts that we take the field today, and really all year. I talked to our guys a lot about perspective, and while this matters so much to us, right? It's our livelihood. We pour so much into this. So many people care about it. It's baseball. So I really think it's important that we reflect on that every now and then when we get consumed with this. Whether we're flying high, whether we're going through some tough moments, like, man, there's a lot more important things going on and meaningful things that I think it's important to keep that perspective. So we will take the field with heavy hearts today, with Miller on our minds, and certainly the Gardner family on our minds, and as best we can, try and support them from afar.